I fucking love this car. Welcome to the best sports car you can buy for £10,000.
Yes, more of that, please. A sports car is the ultimate expression of joy whilst driving. It should have enough power to easily get you down the road, but it shouldn't have so much power that it feels terrifying to push it to its limit. It should be light and agile on its feet, but it shouldn't be skittish or unpredictable. And it should always make you feel special whilst chasing the white lines in the middle of the road with a concoction of speed, noise and grip. The golden era for the sports car was back in the LS-filled days of the 1960s with cars such as the Austin Healey 3000, Jaguar E-Type MGB GT or even the Triumph GT6. These cars set the now decades-old rules of what a sports car must be and feel like. And back in 2006, BMW produced what I believe to be one of the finest modern sports cars ever produced. And rather brilliantly, you can now purchase it for as little as £10,000. And even better yet, you can drive it every single day. The BMW E86 Z4 Coupe follows the sports car playbook to the utter letter. A throaty engine up front, a manual gearbox in the middle, and power sent directly to the rear wheels, all tied together in one of the most beautiful and simply elegant designs ever produced. There isn't a plethora of technology or gadgets for you to get excited over, jumping up about and grabbing your Todger over. They are pretty basic. They're raw. They don't have anything that they don't need to have, and that's what a true sports car should really be. Unlike the sports cars created back in the 1960s, however, this is a car that you can use every single day of the week, and not just on days when the sun is shining or the roads are dry. I mean, take today for an example. This vehicle has over 140,000 miles on the clock. 65,000 of those have been done in the last 3 years alone. By me. When the crisp angled design Z4s first hit the market back in 2002, I wasn't really a fan when compared to the previous Z3 models. I thought it looked too soft, too fat. It certainly wasn't timeless. And if I'm being honest, I'm still not a fan of the early E85 convertibles. The Coupe, on the other hand, yeah, that's something completely different. Now don't get me wrong, I know that the Coupe and the convertible share a lot. To say otherwise would be like stating that Britain and America don't share the same language. However, we all know which nation is better. No, the bonnet is not small. To say that it's the size of Sweden would be a massive understatement. However, it harks back to the 1960s cars of old and makes you feel important as you drive along with what feels like an incredibly subtle power bulge. The body lines are simple. It hasn't been over-sculpted to look aggressive or angry, because a sports car really shouldn't be. That'd be like pinning the ears up on your Labrador to make it look like a Doberman, or shaving a slit in your eyebrow to pretend that you're a rude boy even though you studied at Eton College. But there are lovely little hidden design features. The car actually spells Z4, and no, I'm not talking about the badge. Down here, you see the creases of the car actually spell Z4. But if you point this out to your lady friend and show your excitement, this will mean a reduction in extramarital activities. My favourite design feature of this car, however, is its gluteus maximus. I genuinely cannot look at the back of this car for too long before a power bulge appears in my trousers. And if I'm being honest, I am genuinely amazed showing you this hasn't had this video flagged by the UK government's Online Safety Act already. These wheels are not standard Z4 running gear. However, these E92 M3 Rep wheels look absolutely perfect and finish off Mr. Crisp Angle's design deliciously. The only downside, while I have happened to show the spatial awareness of a hormonal teenage girl when parallel parking, and unfortunately not a single wheel has escaped my idiocy. Whenever I drive this car, there's always an overwhelming sense of occasion. I feel special as I mash my foot into the carpet and change up and down the gears. The seats are incredibly comfortable. They are slightly bucketed, but they do hold you incredibly well, even if you're a lanky streak of piss like me. And the driving position itself is classically BMW. You sit low down within the machine, you feel cockpitted, and as I say, you become part of the machine in an instant. The engine is an absolute masterpiece and quite possibly one of the best naturally aspirated engines ever produced. The Z4 Coupe used both the N52 and then latterly, as in with this car, the N53 straight six. This 3-litre engine was one of the last ever naturally aspirated straight six engines that BMW has ever produced, and it is phenomenal to say the least. Producing 262 brake horsepower and 232 foot-pound of torque, it's not the most powerful power plant in the world, but I don't care. It loves to rev all of the way up to the red. And if I'm being honest, its true power band is from about 3 to 6,500 revs. That being said, this engine is incredibly flexible. It'll pull in 6th gear from 1500 RPM all the way up to the red line. It's the only thing that I know that can go from half asleep to 60 mile an hour more comfortably than Popeye when he's had a fresh can of spinach. This engine has been used across multiple different platforms, from the X5 to the 3 Series, and if I'm being honest, in this, it's at its utter finest. Now, I would like it to make a little bit more power, but I think that's just because I've become used to this car. The only modifications that I've made to the engine is I've added a K&M panel filter. I've added a couple of brake horsepower, nothing special. What it's really done is added an extra little bit of bass into the induction noise, helping to add a little bit of drama and occasion to the whole time. My only criticism of this car is its noise when in standard trim. It doesn't really invite you to mash your foot into the carpet, and the reason being is because BMW designed the coupe to be as much of a grand tourer as it was a sports car. And this shouldn't be the way with a small, nimble car. It should invite you to mash your foot into the carpet and create a plethora of noise and excitement, and it just doesn't do that. However, there is one very simple and easy fix. Do what I did. Rip the back box off, and you'll add a load more drama. Just listen. The gearbox is another masterstroke. It's a 6-speed manual that demands respect. Don't be aggressive. This is stupid. You have to be smooth and precise. And when you get it right, you'll be addicted to going up and down the box like a junkie looking for his next score. Heel and toe down changing is completely pointless on the road. However, rev matching is something that should be encouraged. And when you have a soundtrack like that and what feels like a well-oiled rifle in your left hand, you can't help but do it over and over again. Yes! Another common dislike of BMWs this age is the clutch delay valve. This essentially engages the clutch in a way that is friendly to the car. The only problem being, you don't get the same feel as you should with a proper sports car. So, I've binned it off as well. The only downside is it will bite you, and it will remind you who's boss at any given moment. You have to think of it as a posh date. Get your technique correct, and all will be delightful. You get it wrong, yeah, you're gonna get hit harder than the bill at the end of the night. The suspension is firm, but it is also rather forgiving. As I say, BMW built this car as a grand tourer as well as a sports car, so you can use it on long journeys. But any drive north of 4 hours, and you would be forgiven for thinking that your ass has just been injected with a hit of Novocaine. Unlike the Z4M, this car does not have hydraulic steering. No, it has electronical steering. And usually, I would not be a fan of this. However, the feeling that you get through the steering wheel is genuinely marvelous. Okay, I can understand when people say it feels a little bit woolly, but I understand where the front wheels are at all times. There is a nice little feeling that you get through your fingertips, as if you are dragging your fingers along the road. It's not Porsche-like, of course not, but it's bloody fabulous for an electric system. The steering wheel itself as well is big and chunky in your hands, and I know lots of people say that they prefer a thinner steering wheel, but from where I am, I much prefer the chunky one. Yes. Oh, I love this car. It's so good. If you're going to be critical about this car, it would be about the interior. And it does feel a little bit dated with things such as the original iDrive system. However, there is a beautiful fix. Click it down and simply ignore it. All of the buttons are exactly where you'd expect them to be. 6 CD changer up here, nothing else. Aircon down here, and then your heated seats. Okay, the plastics do feel a little bit cheap, but it's a 17-year-old car. So, why is this the best sports car that you can buy for £10,000? Well, let's look at the competition, shall we? Firstly, we have the Japanese icon, the MX-5, the hairdresser's vehicle loved by many, and for a very good reason. The only downside of an MX-5 is with my dainty frame, questions are going to be raised. So, I prefer a coupe. It also has the added bonus of not messing up my hair that much. Then we have the Porsche Boxster and Cayman, a fabulous platform. The only problem with the Stuttgart lightweights is things will go wrong. And when they go wrong, it will break the bank. And suddenly you have a car worth £10,000 with repair bills half the size of the car. Now, I'm not going to say that BMWs are cheap. They aren't. That would be a silly suggestion. But I've covered 65,000 miles in this beastie over the past 3 years, and the only time it's let me down is when the water expansion tank plastic finally failed and it exploded itself all over the M4 flyover. But in 3 years and 65,000 miles covered, one issue, I think that's pretty bloody good going. And then we come to the loud, the large, the bulbous, the Need for Speed Underground 2 special of the Nissan 350Z. Yes, they do sound great, and once you've sunk thousands upon thousands of pounds into wheels and a body kit, they do look great. But what is the point of buying a car and then sinking thousands of pounds into it to change the way it looks? This is absurd. Surely, you'll just buy the car that looks prettier from standard. That's the logical answer to me. In a world full of turbochargers, touchscreens and more driving modes than a moody teenager, the Z4 Coupe goes about its business being a proper sports car. No nonsense, no gimmicks, just an engine that sings like a drunken choir boy on Christmas Eve and a chassis that wants nothing more than to be flung down Britain's finest B-roads. It's not a car that shouts for attention. However, it will turn more heads than a Love Island contestant in a library. It's beautifully simple, unapologetically mechanical. And maybe your mum might actually think that you've finally grown up a touch. Just until you turn on the engine, fling it out of the cul-de-sac and upset your neighbour and prove conclusively that you haven't. You can buy faster cars, louder cars and more expensive cars, but for 10 grand, you will not find a better car that will make you grin like a Cheshire cat who's just realised that the cream was filled with something far more interesting. If you want purity, charisma, character and reliability, and even make a Porsche owner raise an eyebrow in quiet respect, then stop overthinking it. Buy a Z4 Coupe and bugger off for the weekend. Oh, just perfection. Absolute perfection. Because in a world full of overly complicated, overly sanitized and frankly rather boring machinery, this little Bavarian bastard reminds you what driving joy truly is. And frankly, that's worth every single penny. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fabulous day. And as you were. Yes! More!